Hello, everyone. I am Dima Gawi. As I work with executives, they keep asking about the benefits of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they want to know how it's going to help the bottom line and attracting talent and retaining talent. And of course, there's so much research that shows how much there's a lot of benefit whenever we have a diverse and inclusive work environment. To me, it is beyond the bottom line. Whenever I think about this topic, I think about a story that my friend Mike told me. Mike mentioned about his nephew. His nephew's name is Jeff, and Jeff is 13 years old. This young man started gaining a lot of weight over the years. And his uncle observed that, but he didn't feel comfortable to talk to him about his weight. But he also observed that Jeff was wearing a heavy winter jacket all year long. They live in Louisiana. He wears a heavy winter jacket in the hot, humid Louisiana weather, but the uncle did not understand why Jeff was doing that. One day he talked to him and he said, Jeff, let's work out together. I've been gaining weight. I'm not comfortable with my body. And Jeff immediately responded and said, I absolutely understand what you're experiencing. Me too. I've been gaining weight. I'm not comfortable with my body. But also, whenever I go to school, my classmates are making fun of me. I watch them laughing behind my back, and it makes me so uncomfortable that I found a trick. And the trick is this jacket. I wear this jacket hoping that it's going to hide a part of me, my body, so this way they would leave me alone. How sad is that? Imagine how many people show up to our world, to our workplace, to the community wearing an invisible, heavy jacket where they cannot be themselves. That's why I believe the work on diversity, equity, and inclusion is so important. It is to create a healthy work environment where everybody would be able to show up being themselves, feel respected, and also to increase awareness so we would all be able to support each other and be allies to each other. So as I work again with these executives, even though they want to create inclusive work environments and they're hearing about the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but there's still a lot of resistance. And I'm sure you hear about the resistance all the time. So today, I'm going to share with you 4 messages that I keep hearing all the time that has a lot of resistance to these initiatives. So let me take you through them, and I'm going to share with you how we can address them. The first one is we don't see color when we hire based on qualifications only. Oh my goodness, how many of you have heard that? And of course, there is so much unconscious bias that goes in the hiring process. If we say we don't see color, we just hire based on qualifications, we're missing out. I worked with an electric contractor and they told me the same message. They said, we care just about the qualifications. And I said, show me the demographics of who you hired in the last 5 years and also who you promoted in the last 5 years. And when they did that, when I got the demographics, it was homogeneous. And it was an eye-opener for them because they realized even though they have good intentions, we still all have unconscious bias that we need to address as we are hiring and as we are promoting. So you may have heard, of course, about the affinity bias. We like to hire, we like to be around, we like to attract into our trust circle people that are similar to us. And we don't realize how this affects whenever we're hiring and whenever we are interacting with others. It's not just personal, it's a big part of our business. So that's why it is so important for anybody involved in the hiring process to go through unconscious bias training, for them to understand that even if they have great intentions, we still have these biases, the program in our head that is helping us to attract to some people and try to avoid others without even realizing it. Out of the two pictures, which one you think has better chance of being invited to a first interview? Of course, in the US, it's going to be Michael. But if that question was in the Middle East, it would be Muhammad. It's a global thing, these biases. And that's why it's important to realize that a lot of people, they do something called whitewashing. They have to change their resume. They have to change their name from Muhammad to Michael or from Jose to Joe, just for us to not have biases and stop them from having opportunities. So as you're working with various people, if they say that they are not, they just focus on looking at the qualifications, that is truly not the case. There's a lot of research that looks into individuals and they show them the same resume, they just change the name and the results are different. And of course, anytime we say, I don't see color, that by itself is microaggression. And of course, we should not see that. We do see color, all of us. Now, the next one is, do we have to start promoting employees that are not qualified just because they belong to a minority group? How many of you hear that? It bothers me because this one, they have their bias of assuming that individuals from minority groups are less qualified. Like automatically they're thinking about that. And whenever these individuals actually get promoted, a lot of people automatically assume that they got promoted because they belong to a minority group and not because of their qualifications. So the way we address that is by having a talent pipeline. And I used to work for IBM. That is something we did at a global scale. And here what it means, we have a talent pipeline, which means we identify our top talent, and this is how it would look like. And if anyone wants the actual Excel document, email me and I'm happy to send it to you. So what you do is you put a list of your top talent. Here, I just put 4 rows. Each row is for each individual. Your organization may be a global company. You may have like 100 people at your talent pipeline. It's so important as you're starting to ensure that everybody on this talent pipeline list are from different backgrounds, different genders, ethnicities, and that is so important. White, Black, Asian, women, men, LGBTQ plus, individuals with disabilities, veterans. You need to have individuals here. Of course, they have to be qualified. They have to have potential for growth, and you're working on developing them. So you say, what is their role? What is their current level at the organization? Then you start putting your vision for these individuals for the next 2 years. What kind of rotations do you want to give them? What kind of mentorship, additional training in order to help them continue to develop? Here I have 2 years, but maybe within your team, you want to put 3 or 4, you can change that. And then you look also beyond that. So 4 years from now, what kind of rotation, mentorship, training, and you put all of this information up front. You put it once you meet with the leadership team to ensure that you have a vision for these individuals. This way, whenever you have a job posting for a leadership role, nobody can say, we don't have anyone from minority groups. Instead, you have a great pipeline of individuals that are talented, that you invested in their growth, and ensure that they know that they're part of the talent pipeline, which means they most likely will stay within your team. Now, next one, diverse candidates don't want to work for us. Oh my goodness. So here's what's going on. A lot of individuals, they would go to the website. They're going to check your website. And if everybody on your website in the leadership team look the same, they most likely are not going to feel comfortable applying for your company. They're going to check your social media. And again, if everybody on your social media, it doesn't show appreciation for various important days, and if they don't see diversity, they're most likely are not going to be comfortable. So external branding is so important. Of course, we need to be genuinely focused on creating a culture of inclusion and diversity within our team. Even if we are just starting the journey, it's important to say that. It's important to share that with internally and externally. So here's some of the things we need to look at. So look at your website. Do you have a section that says your focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion? And if not, work with a marketing team in order to add that. And don't just put stock photos, like put truly words that mean something for what you are doing as an organization to create a diverse and inclusive work culture. Here, for example, the company is Pelican State Credit Union, and they say at Pelican State Credit Union, we are dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they talk about their commitment. So this way, when an individual wants to apply, regardless what their background and gender and ethnicity, they're going to see this and they're going to feel, wow, that is a company I want to work with, especially the younger generation, the millennials and Gen Zers. This is so, so important for them. So now, and also looking at the language that you put whenever you are posting a job posting. So usually we have to say we are an equal opportunity employer, but it's beyond that. It is so much more than that. How about we put language like this? And this is also Pelican. We are dedicated to creating, promoting, and nurturing a safe and inclusive work environment. We expect the same from each of our employees. We value diverse talents and welcome individuals with unique backgrounds, working styles, and skill sets. We believe that our differences make us a better team by allowing us to make better decisions, be more innovative, and better serve our members and communities. Can you imagine how wonderful putting that as part of the job description? You're being so clear that this is a focus that your organization has, and it's not just not breaking the law. So this is so important. Now, next one is employee resource groups, ERGs. Some companies call them employee networks as well, will create a greater divide in our company. So employee resource groups, they're similar to the women's group, the people of color group. Now we have some companies doing parents groups or men's groups. So parents groups. So there's a lot of millennials and also young professional groups. So there's so many that are coming up. And the employees, especially the ones that are millennials and Gen Zers, they love this. They want more and more of these groups. So definitely they don't create a divide. And here's a story. I gave a talk a few years ago at Cisco Systems, and it was for their women's group. So I went there and I assumed that I'm going to go to a room that was filled with women. As I got there, I walked into the room with the event organizer, and it was everybody, not just women. And I told her, I think we're in the wrong space. There are men here. And she said, absolutely. We invite men to our events. These are inclusive events. We believe that in order to empower women, we need to get men involved as well. So that was so powerful to realize that these groups, they don't have to be closed to just the members. We need to ensure the allies, everybody, feel welcome to attend these groups. So then it is really not creating a divide. Instead, it is welcoming everybody and getting to talk about important topics that are essential for creating an inclusive work culture where people feel welcomed and feel and open their eyes and increasing their education. I see a lot of posts about training for diversity training is failing. And here's why I think some organizations think that, because many of them, they are doing online training where employees are required to take like a half an hour pre-recorded training. There is not engagement. There's no conversation. People are not sharing their experiences. And of course, it's going to fail. But if we create training, if we create these employee resource groups to support increasing the knowledge, increasing the awareness, helping people to share their experiences, learning from other individuals' perspective, then that's when it's very powerful. So it's definitely not creating a divide. And a big part of our work, all of us, is to teach curiosity, courage, and commitment. And of course, there's going to always be resistance. We need to be aware of it. We need to be aware of how to respond to it. And curiosity, focusing on creating, helping to increase the curiosity of the team by looking inward, understanding their biases, by learning about other people and their experiences. Courage is by becoming more an ally, courage to speak up, courage to answer and address the resistance that I mentioned to you, because that does take a lot of courage, and commitment for the rest of our lives. This is not a one-time thing. It's going to take, again, for the last day of our lives, where we continue to advocate for creating diverse and equitable and inclusive work environment. And that is so essential. So now, whenever we do this, it creates a powerful ripple effect where people come to work and feel that they belong, where people don't have to put on their invisible, heavy winter jacket all year long just to feel, just to hide who they are. Instead, let's take it off. Let's take these invisible, heavy jackets, and instead having people come to work and be themselves. This is my contact information. Again, it was such a pleasure presenting to you. All the information I shared with you, if you want details, just email me. I'm more than happy to send you resources. I am Dima Gawi, and I hope you're enjoying the event.